What's up, guys? We're finally back. I'm your host, Alex. I'm joined by my host, Ryan. What's up, man?
Not a whole lot, man. We're back from our hiatus. Uh, Sorry, everybody. It's been a little bit busy, so we've just been trying to figure things out. But we're ready to give you guys some good content tonight.
Yes, my guy Ryan got married over the break. Congratulations.
Yes, sir. I'm glad you got to be there, right by my side, and we had a little fun the night before. So
Yes, yes. Um, but yeah, man, we've been gone for a while. A lot's happened, so we got kind of a lot to go over. What do you want to start with?
I guess since there's not a whole lot going on, just I guess give a quick rundown of NFL updates. Looks at paper, realizes there are none. Teams have just finished mini camp and OTAs, so now we're in that 6 week period where we're just kind of waiting on training camp. I figured maybe you could talk about your quarterback since he's making some progress apparently.
Yeah, so Cam, they were holding him out for a little bit, and then he started throwing again, and he changed his throwing motion. So he used to do like a kind of like a baseball pitch where he'd throw with the top of his shoulder, and now he's bringing it in, trying to become more of a pocket passer. It looks like, and yeah, man, they said that he started throwing. I think early last week, and everything seems to be going well. He has no pain. Everybody thinks he's completely healthy and back, which I'm very excited about because he pretty much holds the
That is
future for the
okay.
team.
Yeah, that's very exciting. I saw that report on NFL Total Access, but Derek Carr said it's all fun and easy to change your throwing motion in a controlled environment and like in mini camp. But once you get out into the preseason and even regular season games, it's going to be a little bit harder to control
Oh yeah,
that new throwing motion that he's got. But I'm glad to hear that your quarterback's all right. It's really positive news for you guys.
yeah. I mean, I like Will Greer, but I don't know if it's his time to shine yet. So
Yeah, not quite. But yeah, everything else has been looking good. Nothing really crazy in the headlines except that. I guess we could talk about the Aaron Rodgers Matt LaFleur little skirmish we had going on, where Matt LaFleur thinks that Aaron Rodgers shouldn't really be calling as many audibles as Aaron Rodgers wants to in his offense because there is real no need for audibles in his offense, are very limited. And Aaron Rodgers wants full control of being able to call audibles on the line of scrimmage. So they kind of ran into a conflict of interest. But I mean, I personally think that Aaron Rodgers is more than proved that he's capable of leading an offense. So I feel like if I'm Matt LaFleur, I don't want to piss off the big guy, so I'm going to give him as much control as he wants.
yeah, man, I completely agree. Like if I'm LaFleur, you guys sit back and give. He's your quarterback. Let him run the offense. Like, don't let him pick the plays and everything. But if he sees something out there that needs to be changed, let him change it. I mean, he's elite for a reason.
Exactly. And I mean, lots to like about that new Green Bay offense. They've got some decent backs and some decent receivers to help Aaron Rodgers. So I'm excited to see what they do this season.
Yeah, I think they have potential for a breakout year.
Oh yeah, it'll be interesting because that division's pretty stacked. Because I mean, you have the Green Bay Packers coming back, trying to reclaim the fame, and the Bears defending the NFC North title, and the Vikings just trying to make Kirk Cousins' deal worth it.
Yeah,
While also,
they actually play week one, the Bears and Packers.
I don't have the schedule in front of me, but I already know that that's probably going to be the number one game of week one. That game, because I mean, if you look back at those games last year between the two of them, both of them, I mean, those games were intense. Those games were fun to watch, and like nothing's changed. We got a healthy Rodgers, we got a nice Khalil Mack, and it's gonna be fun watching LaFleur go against Nagy. So I'm excited for that.
Oh yeah, that whole division is going to be fun.
Oh yeah, it'll be interesting. I feel bad for fans in that division because I mean, like even if you're like a Lions fan, your team might be pretty solid, but they're still like gonna like find fourth place in that division, which is really terrible because I mean they could be like second place in any other division.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's crazy. Do you have any other NFL news for us?
I don't think so. Not at the time. We can recap the NBA Finals if you want, since that just passed last week.
Yeah. So, congratulations to Toronto and the entire country of Canada. They won their first ever NBA championship. They pretty much lost it when they won the championship. I think they said 2 million people went to the parade, which I mean is justified. It's their first championship ever. And the Warriors were just so hobbled. They had so many injuries. I mean, Clay went down in the final game with a torn, I think he has a torn MCL. And so
ACL.
ACL, okay. So
It's a big one.
Yeah, he's done probably till this time next year.
2020.
Yeah, I was going to say probably the whole year. So that's a big blow for them. It pretty much opens up the entire NBA basically because you can take the Golden State Warriors basically out of it. There, I mean, Steph Curry and Draymond, but that just makes them a normal team again.
Yeah, I see a lot of intrigue around this upcoming NBA season, and honestly, this might have revitalized my interest in the NBA because, you know, these past few years, my interest in the NBA has been kind of trailing. But with the Warriors dynasty seemingly over, top 10 players on the sideline for this next coming season, Kevin Durant and Clay, obviously, the whole NBA is open. Like, I'm talking about the West, the East. It all depends on this crazy free agency we're about to have. But, I mean, this is an exciting year for the NBA, and I am pumped.
Yeah, man. This is probably as excited as I've been for an NBA season since the Big Three joined in Miami. I was very excited for that season. But, like, this one's going to be so competitive. It's going to be great.
Exactly. I mean, how do you feel about the whole people using the excuse, oh, if the Warriors weren't injury if they weren't injured, they would have won. How do you feel on that? Because I know there's a lot of debate where some people are all for that or some people are kind of against that. I, myself, personally am against it because I think if you're going to have a team like that, you need to have the bench to back it up. And I know they don't really have the financials to do so, but I mean, that's just part of the game, you know?
Well, here's my thing. You can't say, oh, the Warriors were injured, so Toronto won because they were lucky. Because, okay, in I think it was 16, Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving got injured. So you could say the same thing about...
2015, I think.
Yeah, you could say the same thing about that championship. And then last year, I think, when Chris Paul got injured and Houston was up 3-2 on them, and they came back and won that.
Yeah.
If Chris Paul doesn't get injured, Houston might be in the championship. So, I mean, how many of the Warriors championships are legit if that's the argument we're going to have when it comes to the Raptors championship? Exactly, one. So it's just like,
yeah.
And that was with Kevin Durant. So, like, they didn't have any before he came. Like, it's just crazy, man. I don't get how you can say that.
I agree. I mean, I feel like you have to have the bench to prepare for that, and that's exactly what Toronto had, a deep bench, and that's why they were able to take care of business the way they did. But, so speaking of Chris Paul, there's been a lot of news surrounding him and teammate James Harden, and it seems like a fake report because there were reports of Harden and Chris Paul were like, this is kind of fake. Don't really believe it, but there was news saying that the two couldn't stand each other, that the two were making fun of each other in practices, that they weren't on speaking terms, and that Chris Paul is demanding a trade. The GM of the Rockets has come out saying that that's not true. Chris Paul and James Harden have said that's not true. But what are you doing if you're the GM of the Rockets right now?
If it is true and Chris Paul wants a trade, I'm going to him and saying, hey, I can't trade you under this contract, so you either have to take less money or we got to restructure this somehow or you need to go fix things with James Harden. But I think it's true. I mean, when have you ever heard of a team coming out and be like, yeah, all that happened? Not until after somebody gets traded. So, like, I think it's all true. I've always thought Chris Paul was kind of a dick, but, like, They always say the hardest thing in basketball or any sport to do is coach an aging superstar. So just imagine, like, Chris Paul's body's letting him down, and James Harden wants to be the leader, but Chris won't give it up. That's going to cause them to butt heads. And I don't know. I just think they have a really golden chance this year to be a true NBA champion if they can get everything worked out. And now they look like they're going to squander it all just through this little offseason that they had.
Exactly. And the most important thing to Chris Paul right now is solidifying his chances to get into the NBA Hall of Fame, because he's a superstar. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He's got accolades on accolades. But the one thing preventing him from getting there is an NBA championship, which he has failed to get so far. And he's not getting any younger. So if I'm him, I'm reworking my contract, whether I'm staying with Houston or, for me, if I'm Chris Paul, I'm trying to get traded to the Lakers because I want to play with my buddy LeBron.
Okay.
But I am trying to rework my deal. I think you saw my tweets about this.
Yeah. I tweeted. I was
I'm trying to rework my deal.
Exactly. Yeah, but here's the thing. I don't think LA wants him. I don't think they'd take him. I mean, currently they're trying to literally trade every single person. Well, I guess we should talk about their trade first. So, moving off of the Rockets over the weekend, I think it happened Sunday, either Sunday or Monday.
Yeah.
The Los Angeles Lakers traded a boatload of prospects and draft picks to the New Orleans Pelicans in exchange for Anthony Davis. Me and Ryan have differing opinions when it comes to this trade on who won, who lost, what's going on. So I guess I'll let you jump in with your thoughts first, and then I'll lead after.
Well, you kind of talked about the trade a little bit, but let me get into the specifics. The LA Lakers sent Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, this year's 4th overall pick, and a future, I think it's 2023 first-round pick.
By the way, before you finish, the Pelicans just traded the number 4 pick to the Hawks for the number 8th pick, the 17th pick, and the 35th overall pick.
That is a great trade for them as well. Their GM is moving.
That is a ridiculous trade. Now they're going to have the 1st pick, the 8th pick, the 17th, and the 35th pick, which is like the 5th pick in the second round. That's an insane haul for just, and all they gave up was the 4th overall pick and the 57th pick.
And this draft is stacked, so they're going to definitely be a new team next year. But yeah, so that's even crazier. I didn't even know about that trade.
Well, it happened 3 minutes ago. Yeah, 3 minutes ago.
Oh, nice. But yeah, I think the new GM of the Pelicans, because they just got a new GM pretty recently within the calendar year, he's doing amazing things. Anthony Davis did not want to be there, so he had one option: either trade him or keep him and let him go with no return. And although this deal isn't the best, he got an amazing young core in Lonzo Ball, former first-round pick, Brandon Ingram, former first-round pick, Josh Hart, amazing second-round pick. Wait, or was he a first-round pick? I can't remember.
I think he was like the
first. He was
either
late first or early second.
I think he was the first pick in the second round or something like that.
There you go. Yeah, something like that. And now they're turning it around to get even more draft capital. I mean, I just think that this was an amazing trade for the Pelicans. I mean, obviously the Lakers got a great superstar, but I think they gave up way too much, and now I think the Pelicans are going to be a great team in about a year or two. I actually predicted on Twitter that the Pelicans are going to be a top 4 seed in 2021. Not this upcoming playoffs, but the year after. I think they're going to draft Zion Williamson tonight, and who knows, apparently 3 or 4 other rookies. And I just think that's going to be an amazing young core. And I think if they can pair it with another guy in free agency, specifically I've been looking at Al Horford to get a nice big in there. I think if they can get a guy like Al Horford or Jimmy Butler, I think they're set up for the next year or two. I really like it. But go ahead and tell me your debate, because you told me you had some good coming for me on why the Lakers won this trade.
Okay, so I think they won it solely because they got Anthony Davis and kept Kyle Kuzma. Lonzo Ball has yet to play a whole season. He gets injured. Brandon Ingram, same thing. And Brandon Ingram now has blood clot issues, which they're not even sure if he's going to be cleared to play yet. I mean, I would guess that he's going to be. That's why they made the trade, but who knows? That's the same thing that stopped Chris Bosh's career. Josh Hart, yeah, you're great, but I mean, you're a great role player, but you're never going to be a superstar. And the number 4 overall pick, now that they traded it, looks a lot better to me because now you get 3 other players. But I still think the Lakers won because they're instant contenders. LeBron's shown that he doesn't like playing with young guys. That's why the Cavs traded Andrew Wiggins for Kevin Love when he came back. So bringing in a rookie wouldn't help that much. And I mean, it's LeBron and Anthony Davis. And now they're trying to trade. I don't know what they're going to do. Now it looks like they're trying to trade everyone that's left on the roster except for Kuzma, LeBron, and Anthony Davis to create another max slot, which would be $32 million, so that they can go sign another guy to the max deal, like Kemba or Kyrie, and then that would mean that they'd have to fill out the rest of the roster with minimum contract veterans minimums or rookie minimums. So, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I have differing opinions on Zion also. I don't think he is going to be as great as everybody thinks he's going to be. I think he's going to be I think his ceiling is probably, what's the dude? Griffin from Detroit. Why can I not think of his first name? Blake Griffin. And I think his floor is Julius Randle. So, I don't know. And if can other guys...
That's a pretty good comparison. I mean, I like what you did there. And I think even his floor, I mean, Julius Randle's a pretty good player. So, I mean, even his floor looks pretty
I know,
decent.
But everybody's saying he's the next LeBron James or Michael Jordan. And I don't see that. So...
I agree. I think the hype is going to kill him a little bit. I think that this hype surrounding him is going to make him... It's going to ruin his confidence because I don't think he is that player. I think he is just going to be a solid superstar in this league. I don't think he's going to be the next MJ or the next Kobe or the next LeBron. I think he's going to be Zion Williamson. I think he's going to be a solid guy in the league for a long time. But, I mean, I don't think he's going to be bringing Titletown to NOLA.
Although, I will say I watched an interview earlier with... It was him and Rachel Nichols, and she was basically saying, hey, you're going to be the number 1 pick. Are you excited to play with all these guys? And he was being so humble. He was like, listen, I don't want to answer these questions because I don't know if I'm going to be the number 1 pick. Like, I mean, obviously you're the number 1 pick, dude, unless the Pelicans are crazy. But, like, it was just really humbling to see him talk like, hey, we don't know yet. Let's wait until I actually get drafted. I don't know. In all accounts, even though he went to Duke, he seems like an amazing person. So I hope everything works out for him. But yeah, I just think that Pelicans team, I don't think those draft picks are going to be any good because I think the Lakers are going to be contenders. So they're going to be late first-round draft picks. I don't know.
Yeah.
I love the idea of the Lakers being really good. So
I do too. I think that they're going to be a really big team. I mean, obviously they're going to be a contender. They're the favorites this year. But wouldn't it make more sense to continue to free up cap space, but in doing so, you also try to trade for Chris Paul, try to rework his deal to where he'll take around $8 to $14 million a year, which is still a heck of a lot of money. But that way, Chris Paul can get a ring. LeBron has a point guard that he knows and trusts because they've been best friends for a long time. Chris Paul's in that group with Carmelo and Dwayne Wade called the Banana Boat Squad that they all love. I mean, heck, honestly, if Carmelo's willing to take a little bit less money, they can get Carmelo on that boat too, and maybe bring D Wade out of
honestly,
I don't know, man. Like I think
that's not a bad idea.
I mean, I'm saying if Chris Paul can take less money, they'll get a superstar point guard, and they'll be able to fill out their bench the way they need to be a real title contender.
Yeah, I mean, if Chris Paul is willing to take even $10 million a year, cool, let's do it right now. And I don't hate. In fact, I could definitely see them signing Carmelo to like a veterans minimum for a year, and just say, "Hey, go stand in the corner and shoot threes." But yeah, man.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. That would also get Carmelo Anthony a ring, who has also yet to get a ring of his own. But I guess we could also talk about the trade that broke yesterday, which was the Memphis Grizzlies trading longtime point guard Mike Conley to the Utah Jazz in exchange for Grayson Allen, Jay Crowder, Kyle Korver, and the 23rd overall pick in this year's draft.
Can we just talk about...
I thought that was a great trade by Memphis. Oh, go ahead. What?
Can we talk about how the Jazz got fleeced? Like, you got a 32-year-old Michael Conley who is on a crazy contract, And you gave up all that for him?
That's what I'm saying, and I'm trying to make that point on Twitter, and someone argued with me and said that Utah won the trade. I was like, yes, Utah got a pretty good point guard, but he's old.
Dude, he's old, and his contract is... Let me look up his contract, because I'm pretty sure it's really bad.
All right, while you do that, I'm going to talk about why Memphis got a pretty good cut out of this deal. I mean, they get another first-round pick and a stacked draft. And, I mean, Memphis is not trying to be competitive next year. Memphis is not going to wow anybody. Memphis is going to be a process team. They're going to be a trust the process team where they're trying to rebuild. And Jay Crowder and Kyle Korver bring great perimeter shooting and great defense and veteran leadership. I think they're going to be the leaders in that locker room that has a lot of young guys in there. I mean, obviously they have Grayson Allen in there. They have Jarrett. What's that guy they drafted last year? Jarrett Jackson?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Jarrett Jackson.
And Ivan Rabb's in there. They're going to have 2 new first-round picks and maybe a second-round pick in there. They need veterans to lean on, and I think that Memphis is going to have a solid team in a few years. So I think that was a great move to rebuild because they also traded star Marc Gasol to Toronto, where Marc Gasol just got his first ring.
And they're going to have cap space because I'm just looking at it. Mike Conley this year is due $32 million, and then next year $34 million.
Yeah, you can't tell me that Utah won that trade.
With a player option for 2021, 2022 for $36 million. That's crazy, yo. Like, he's not worth that much.
I don't even think. Yeah, I don't think Mike Conley's even going to be a member of the Jazz.
Right? Yeah, he is 32.
Option comes about.
Oh, yeah. I have more breaking news for you if you'd like it.
Bring it on, man. Bring it on.
The Minnesota Timberwolves have traded the number 11 overall pick and Dario Saric to Phoenix for the number 6 overall pick.
Okay, that is a great trade for Phoenix, who just sent also, I guess we could talk about the trade that happened today. My Indiana Pacers took T.J. Warren and the 32 overall pick from the Suns in an effort to help the Suns' salary cap. But that's a great move by the Suns, getting another young player in Saric. Saric is underrated.
Yeah, he is.
I think he's a great player, and obviously they're moving back in the first round, but I mean, they're still in the lottery. And
yeah, you still get
I really
the
wonder
11th pick.
You want to know who I bet? I bet Minnesota's going after Garland. I think that's who they're going after.
Oh, well,
if he's even still available.
News also just came through that the Hawks are going to draft your guy from Virginia.
DeAndre Hunter.
Yeah, that's who they're targeting with the number 4 overall pick.
That's a great selection, and that would be an amazing pick to pair up with Trae Young.
Yeah, it would.
But
that'd be a crazy backcourt.
Man, what a great time to record, man. We got a lot of breaking news.
There's just so much stuff happening. Doesn't the draft? What time's the draft? 8?
7:30, I believe.
Okay. What else do we have in basketball news? I feel like there's more. Oh, I guess we can talk about free agency. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, we could do some free agent predictions and I guess walking in the superstar shoes.
All right. So I guess we should start with the guy who just won Finals MVP, Kawhi Leonard. Where do you think he's going? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I think the teams that are looking at him right now is obviously Toronto is looking to retain him. I think the LA Lakers and the LA Clippers are trying to get him to come to LA, and I think wasn't there another team in the mix? Or am I wrong?
It was the
New York Knicks.
The Knicks, but that's not going to happen. So
yeah, if I'm Kawhi, I'm staying in Toronto. Toronto it looks like home, man. I mean, they're building the team pretty well around Kawhi. They just won a championship, so obviously you know that team can win. And I mean, they've got a great bench, great young core, great superstars in there. Like, I don't think they have any superstars other than him. Honestly, they need to work on that in free agency. But they've got other great players like Kyle Lowry, Marc Gasol, Serge Ibaka, Pascal Siakam, and Fred Van Vliet. I really like the group in Toronto. So if I'm Kawhi, I'm staying in Toronto because they're basically about to make him mayor and give him a statue in front of the stadium. So
yeah,
I'm staying. What about you, man?
And not to mention, you said they need to work on it in free agency. Well, Kyle Lowry, his contract comes off the books next season. I think he becomes a free agent, so they'll have more cap space next year. But I would like to see him stay in Toronto just because it looks like home, like you said. Like he looks like he belongs there, but I think he's going to go to the Clippers.
I think so?
Yeah, I think he wants to be in LA so bad, and he doesn't want to be under LeBron. So yeah, I think he's going to go play in the same building as LeBron and go to the Clippers.
Well, that would be a fantastic signing for the Clippers, who currently don't have a superstar and currently have a pretty young core. So I mean, I think that would be a great signing for them. And obviously something that we haven't mentioned is LA is actually home for Kawhi. We said that Toronto seems like home. LA is actually home for Kawhi because Kawhi grew up in California. But, yeah, I don't think Kawhi can go wrong here. But if I'm him, I'm staying at Toronto. So on to another superstar going to free agency, but someone who won't be playing in the 2019-2020 season is Kevin Durant. He will be a free agent, and he's got a number of teams pursuing him, like Golden State, New York Knicks, and I think the Lakers are even trying to see if he'll bite. But what are you doing if you're Kevin Durant?
I'm staying with Golden State. I think
Really?
That's what I would do. I think now the Knicks don't look that great because Kyrie looks like he's going to sign with Brooklyn. And, well, I don't know, man. They can offer you the most money, and you're going to sit out all next year. They're not going to rush you back. Like, think about if you're in New York, the media, the people, they're going to want you to come back and play next year. They're going to want to rush you back.
But, I mean, the Warriors have already rushed him back. I think they rushed him back to play in Game 5. So I think Kevin Durant's already lost a little bit of trust in Golden State's medical staff. So if I'm Kevin Durant, I think I'm skipping town. I'm going to New York.
I mean, I'd love to see him in I've never seen the Knicks be good, ever. So that'd be very interesting.
Yeah, the last time the Knicks went to playoffs was 2013 when they still had Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah.
So they're in the middle of a pretty long postseason drought. But obviously Kevin Durant wouldn't help them end it this season.
Yeah.
Because he's sitting out.
And speaking of Kyrie, it's basically between, I guess we can put Los Angeles in there, the Knicks, and Brooklyn. He's basically not speaking to the Celtics, so it doesn't look like he's going back there. Brooklyn doesn't seem interested in him anymore because he can't get Kevin Durant to come with him. I saw that report like 2 days ago. So now...
Interesting.
Yeah, I saw that they're losing interest in him because they wanted him and Kevin Durant, and now that they can't get him, they don't know. And I'm like, all right, well, I don't really know. Like, it's confusing. I don't know where he's going to go. I think he's a wild card to me. Like, it's very hard to predict where he's going to go. I feel like he could go to any of those three.
Isn't it crazy that Kyrie Irving, who is definitely a superstar and definitely one of the top 5 best point guards in the league, is kind of one of those guys, one of the second-tier free agents this year? I mean, everyone's going to be wondering where Kevin Durant and Kawhi is going first, and then they're going to be talking about Kyrie, which is crazy to me because, like, Kyrie is, like, in any other year, Kyrie would be, like, the top guy in free agency, but this year is just stacked, man.
Yeah, I mean, you could say the same thing.
Kyrie,
you could say the same thing. You could say the same thing with Kemba Walker. Like, if this was a down year and Kemba was the only good free agent, like, people would be paying him boatloads of money to come play.
Oh, for sure. Speaking of Kemba, I mean, we could talk about him next. Where are you going if you're Kemba Walker?
Oh, he stays.
You think he stays?
Yeah, I don't think. Well, I think he would go to LA, but I don't think LA is going to have enough money to pay him. So.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's going to go anywhere else. Unless, like, maybe the Mavericks, if they, like, find a way to get enough cap space. Because think about that. Kemba, Luka, and then whoever they draft tonight. That would be pretty interesting. And Porzingis, that would be crazy. But, no, I think he stays. He's already said he wants to stay. He already said he'd take less money to stay. I think he stays.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Kemba knows where home is, and home is in Charlotte. I think Charlotte's the best situation for him. I think he'd be making a huge career mistake if he goes to Dallas. But I think Charlotte's worth staying. And honestly, if he wants to win in there, I think he should take less money. I think that would give the front office enough money to actually build something around them, because it looks like they're starting to maybe get their act together and build something around Kemba Walker,
They're not.
Only time will tell.
They're not. Nicholas Batum should have been cut
just
3
Alex
years
says,
ago. Listen, I could go on like an hour and a half rant about how bad of an owner Michael Jordan is, so I'm not going to do that. I guess the last free agent we can talk about is Jimmy Butler. Where do you think he's going to go?
Forgot about him. I think if I'm Jimmy Butler, I'm either trying to find a way to get into the Clippers or with the Lakers. I think he'd be a great fit in LA, and you really can't go wrong choosing either team, because, I mean, if Kawhi's going to the Clippers, I think he'd be a great fit there. I also think he'd be a good fit with LeBron, so you really can't go wrong if you're Jimmy Butler. So I'd like to see him in LA.
So I heard yesterday that the Rockets are trying to trade Capella in order to open up enough cap space to try and sign Jimmy Butler, because they think he'd be a great fit for them. Could you imagine him, James Harden, and Chris Paul all in the same locker room? That sounds like the worst recipe for disaster in the world.
Yeah, and also, who would they have holding down the?
No one.
Holding down the center position. They need to sign a guy like Al Horford. Do a cheap deal, which honestly would look pretty nice on paper. But I mean, I don't think those personalities would mix well. Jimmy Butler's kind of a diva, and I don't know if that would bode well for the
Jimmy
Rockets.
Jimmy Butler needs somebody like LeBron to be like, dude, shut up and just play basketball. Like, this isn't your team. This is my team. So just go play defense. Like, that's what he needs.
I completely agree. We need to unlock the skill level that Jimmy Butler had when he was with the Bulls, because he didn't really have it all together when, I mean, I guess he did pretty well when he was with the Wolves. And obviously had a pretty good season with the Sixers. But, I mean, honestly, I'd consider staying with the Sixers if I was Jimmy Butler, honestly.
Well, here's the thing. They don't have enough room. They'd have to either it's either him or Tobias Harris. They have to pick between the two.
I'd take Jimmy Butler all day.
Oh, I don't know. I think I might take – Tobias Harris is quiet. I might take him and then just try and re-sign Embiid and Ben Simmons. Because you got to think, Ben Simmons' contract is up next year. And Embiid's is – no, Embiid –
They already gave him an extension, didn't they?
Yeah, Embiid got an extension, but Ben Simmons is up next year. So that's going to be a lot of money for Ben Simmons.
Yeah, maybe Harris would be the best guy for that locker room. And honestly, he's a little bit cheaper than Jimmy Butler, so – yeah, maybe they can draft a guy that can fill the void there.
Yeah. So I guess, did you have anything else, or?
I don't think so. Next time we talk, we can recap all that happens tonight in the draft, because there's going to be some crazy blockbuster trades and some good draft picks taken tonight. So right, I guess we'll recap that next week.
One thing before we leave, I'm going to have you pick who you think the top 2 players in this draft class will be in 5 years from now.
Okay.
And one of mine is really going to surprise you. Maybe not.
I'm going for it. I have a feeling I know who yours is going to be.
Probably.
But I'm going to actually skip number 1 and 2, and I'm going straight to 3 and 4. I think it's going to be R.J. Barrett and DeAndre Hunter from UVA. They're comparing DeAndre Hunter to Kawhi Leonard, and I think R.J. Barrett's going to be. I heard Jacoby, my buddy Jacoby, who's a huge Knicks fan. He says that R.J. Barrett is going to be the best draft prospect that has come to New York since Patrick Ewing.
I agree. I would take him number 1.
I'm going with R.J.
I would take R.J. number 1. Although
you take R.J. with number 1?
Yeah, I would. 100%. Yes. Which is a hot take, I know, but I would.
All right, well, give me your 2 guys. Okay. It is a hot take, but I mean, especially for the Pelicans. I don't think he'd fit well with the Pelicans.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I didn't think about that. But, no, I have RJ also, and then I have the guy that the Knicks just worked out this morning, North Carolina point guard Kobe White. I think Kobe White is going to be Russell Westbrook-esque.
Oh, okay. Well, I have to clarify. I did think you were going to say Kobe White because that's your guy from UNC. But I thought you were talking about my second pick for your your crazy guy was going to be Garland,
No,
which is
see-
also someone the Knicks just worked out a few days ago.
The
so
Knicks worked out
that's why I was
Kobe White
confused.
this morning.
Oh, crazy!
Like they summoned him to a workout this morning before the draft. So
Summoned him.
watch them shock the world and take Kobe White with the 3rd pick.
Well, maybe the Knicks trade back into the first round and take Kobe White, which would be crazy to see.
No,
it.
he's supposed to go in like the top 5, bro.
You think so? I
Yeah.
thought he was around like 8 or 9.
No, not anymore. According to Woj this morning, he's been rising up draft boards like crazy because of his private workouts.
Well, good for him.
Yeah, I mean, shout out. I hope everything works out for him.
Well, only time will tell, and we'll be able to recap for you guys next week. So
Yes, we will be
Stay
back
tuned.
to our regular scheduled podcasts starting next week.
weekly.
Yes. All right, guys. Y'all have a good weekend.